and bienvenidos to Pica Poco Kitchen. Today we're making amaranth and coconut sugar skulls. Vámonos! Day of the Dead is one of our most ancient celebrations, which has origins in our indigenous traditions of viewing dead as part of life. Día de Muertos is one of the most popular celebrations in Mexico, my favorite holiday. The beauty of Day of the Dead is that it's more than just some days. It's about the preparation that is put into make it happen. The love and care put into every meal cooked, into every design of papel picado, into every lit candle and filled glass of water, into every decorated altar and sugar skull, which leads us to this video. Sugar skulls are a representation of ever present death in the form of nature, our ancestors, our story, our traditions, our future, and what makes us who we are today. Traditionally made out of a two-part clay mold with sugar syrup that slowly builds up the walls, and then it's later decorated with colorful royal icing. Today, I have two the edible versions of sugar skulls. Not that the sugar skulls aren't edible, but I yet haven't met somebody who enjoys eating a whole sugar skull. I had a lot of fun making them, and I can't wait to show you so you start making your own. Cocadas, made with coconut, of course, are traditional candies that came from Spain, made popular by the nuns in Mexico. Depending on where they're made, their styles and recipes are different. Some are hard, some are soft, some are baked, some are dyed with colors. Today, I'm going to show you two styles. Ones that are made with yolk and the other ones that are made with egg whites. Let me show you the ingredients and the process. For your egg yolk cocadas, you're going to start with 4 egg yolks, and to them you're going to add 2 tablespoons of corn syrup and half a cup of sugar. Beat everything up until you have an homogeneous mixture. And also try to make sure that the sugar has been dissolved. After that, you can add a splash of vanilla. Continue to mix until you achieve a pale yellow color. Then you'll be ready to add your 14-ounce bag of coconut flakes. Make sure that they are unsweetened. Once everything is well incorporated, we're ready to mold. Using a paper towel and neutral oil, I went around my mold, especially in the face features, to avoid the mixture to get stuck to it. The molds work really well, so this wasn't really necessary, but it's better to be safe than sorry. I greased up my hands so it would be easier to manage the mixture. I grabbed little portions and then put them in each space. Make sure to press firmly so you get a good impression. Don't worry about the mess around the mold because you can come back and clean it later. Take your time and grab a big amount. It doesn't look like it, but it requires quite a big amount to fill each skull. I only did one mold because I wasn't sure if this was gonna work. In the end, I honestly regretted not doing more of this kind. Once your mold is full, with your fingers, go around the edges, pushing the coconut into the closest skull and press it down. Close your mold and press with your fingers around each skull, trying to make sure that both pieces are gonna stick together. I took mine and let it sit in the freezer for around an hour. After that time, it was fairly easy to demold. And as you can see, the shapes took great. I just went around each skull with my fingers, pressing down on the little flakes that were standing up, but for the most part, this mixture worked great. Then I baked them at 350 Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. you can still see the features, and they're gonna be highlighted once we decorate them. They did expand, but just a little, not enough to separate the backs from the front. So just remember to press firmly when you're filling in your molds. And with the rest of my coconut, I just made little balls and baked them as well. Of course, I had a little taste. For the egg white cocadas, you're gonna start with your 4 egg whites in a broiler and half a cup of sugar. Using a globe, you're gonna mix everything until the sugar is dissolved and your mixture turns white. Now remove from the heat and add your bag of coconut flakes. Mix well and you're ready to mold. You can add vanilla, but I completely forgot. What I did remember is that I own a coconut spray, so prepping my molds was easier. This coconut mix is stickier, so it's a little bit tricky to handle, but just grease up your hands and you'll be okay. Don't forget to add a good amount and press well. Don't worry too much about the edges. You'll clean them up once your molds are full. Close your molds and press. Leave them in your freezer for at least 1 hour. These ones were easy to demold because even though they were cold, they were not hard, so fixing the sides was simple, just pushing the coconut flakes. However, because they're made with egg whites, they do expand in the oven. I baked them at 350 Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. And those who didn't glue completely well to the back, they did get separated. And of course, the faces weren't as clear as the other ones. So I wouldn't be making these ones with a mold next time. But still, the flavor was delicious. They taste a little bit like meringue. And again, I had leftover for a cookie mold one. Amaranth is a crop that was harvested by different indigenous peoples like the Inca, the Mayan, the Aztecs, who call it huautli, and it was used in rituals honoring dead. Therefore, during the Spanish conquest, it was deemed sacrilegious and then forbidden and forgotten for almost 300 years. But fortunately, like its Greek etymology, amaranthos, or the unfading, amaranth didn't fade and it's still present in our culinary experience. Amaranth is a highly nutritious food, considered like quinoa as a pseudo cereal, but it is actually a seed. It is a great source of minerals, vitamins, amino acids, proteins, and it's gluten free. It should never be consumed raw, it should always be cooked. And the way of doing it is by popping it or boiling it in water, which I'm really not familiar with. I've always known it popped. It is hard to do it yourself, but it is very easy to find ready to use. I found mine in a store in Etsy called Sazon Oaxaca. They're not paying me to say anything about it, but I found their store and I think it's amazing. I'm going to link their shop on the description so you can go and check them out. And of course, get your amaranth from them if you wish so. So, let me show you these two very easy ways of making these sugar skulls. In bain marie, you're going to melt 100 grams of chocolate, which is, for the most part, any chocolate bar. I'm going to use white, but feel free to use a chocolate of your choice. Here's a closer look to the amaranth. It's light, airy, crunchy, and nutty. And here is the back so you can see it better. For this recipe, I experimented with the ratio of amaranth and chocolate. In this case, I used 1.5 cups of amaranth per 100 grams of chocolate. This batch had a lighter texture, and in the end, a bigger quantity, which is never a bad thing. I used a small cookie scoop to transfer. In this case, I didn't need to grease my mold. Once it hardens in the freezer, it's going to be easier to remove the excess. These skulls were not just very easy to unmold, they were also beautifully shapen. And to remove the excess, you just need to snap it with your fingers. Easy like that. Get a jar and collect all those crumbs. You can sprinkle them in some yogurt or directly into your mouth. And like I said, since I had more quantity, I was able to do a cookie cutter one. And finally, for the milk chocolate ones, we're gonna do the same process. This time, 100 grams of milk chocolate melted in bain marie, but with 1 cup of popped amaranth. This batch had a denser texture, which made it easier to transfer into the mold, but unfortunately, I didn't have leftover for the cookie cutter one. Also, since it was less amount, when I pressed them too hard and made an indent in all of their heads. I put all of my chocolate skulls into a container and back to the fridge until I was ready to decorate them. And here they are. Aren't they amazing? I had so much fun and I am really happy on how they turned out. I am very excited to see yours. So if you do make them, please share them with me on your socials, tag me, and I would love to see yours. I can tell you that they're all different, and that's the fun part of it. So I will suggest you doing this with your friends, with your loved ones, with your children, and start making memories and things to remember. On the coconut side ones, if I make them again, I would grind the coconut shreds a little bit smaller so they take better shape. Definitely the yolk and coconut ones worked better than the egg whites because the egg whites stay soft. So that's why I didn't even decorate it on them. The amaranth ones, the ones that were 1 cup of amaranth per bar of chocolate, turn out more chocolate forward in flavor, but because it was less amount, when I pushed them to get them together, I did make an indent in them. Now the 1.5 cups of amaranth to 1 bar of chocolate turn out great, but they are more amaranth forward flavored, which is great. It's nutty, it's subtle, it's very nice. With the leftovers, I even made these cookie cutter ones, which reminds me, you don't really need to have a mold. You can make them however you like. Just have fun with them. I will post a short video on how I did the decoration, so stay tuned to that. And just I really hope you go ahead and make them. Write the names of your friends in them and share them with them, just like this video. Like, subscribe, and be notified. And for more, follow me on the socials. Adios, amigues.